Hello and happy Tuesday. Welcome. You are live with Sandra at It's All About Choices, where every Tuesday I have the pleasure of dishing out your weekly dose of nutrition and wellness news for your mind and your body and your soul. And I hope that everybody had a wonderful weekend, a wonderful resurrection weekend. And I am always delighted to have those who tune in live with me. I appreciate you tuning in and taking time out of your busy schedule. And those who are listening to the replay, I thank you for pausing and taking time out of your busy schedule. I hope you all are having a little lunch and just kind of taking a break and getting ready for the second half of your evening. And as I see people tuning in, if you will please just say hello to me and tell me where you are tuning in from. And as we are doing that, I am getting my windows in order so that I am able to see comments. So give me 1 second. And I'm getting my second window. Everybody who tunes in with me knows that I love to have engagements, love for people to chime in. And so I'm trying to set my windows up so that I can see who is talking to me. And so again, we are starting a new series. So we are talking about stress and stress eating. Very, very, very pertinent topic and relevant topic, and why it happens and what we need to do to stop it. Okay, so let me continue to get my windows together here. And so this is a mini series on where you will learn mindful eating and some strategies that will help you to avoid overeating out of stress, anxiety, boredom, and of course, it leads to that unwanted weight gain and feeling tired. And in many cases, it even impacts our health. And so it leads to several chronic illnesses and inflammation and a whole host of other things. And so today we're talking about how stress, immunity, and weight gain go hand in hand. Okay. And so a survey was conducted by the American Psychological Association, or the APA, and it found that 3 out of 4 Americans reported experiencing at least one stress symptom each month. Okay. For many of us, it's each day, right? And those top stressors include acne, headaches, chronic pain, decreased energy, insomnia, appetite changes. And of course, many of us are still dealing with the effects of COVID, and they're still wondering how they're going to relieve themselves from the various stresses that has presented itself. And so today I'm going to talk about 10 10 best practices that will help you to avoid overeating out of stress, anxiety, boredom, and ultimately avoiding how we feel sluggish, we feel bloated, and we gain weight. So all the effects that just come from overeating, because when we're overeating, we're usually overeating on things that are not the best for our bodies. And so it makes us feel some kind of way, right? And so for those who don't know me, my name is Sandra Goldtree, and I'm a registered dietitian. I'm a certified personal trainer, and I am your accountability coach. And I'm and partner. I like to say partner. And I pull from a variety of leading edge weight loss and lifestyle strategies. And I want to help adults to integrate healthier eating habits into their lifestyle. I want this as easy as blinking, as easy as you don't even have to give it any thought. And the goal is to build lifestyle habits that last. Okay. There's a lot that goes into that, but that's really what it all boils down to. And for 2023, I'm all about creating a lifestyle of self-care, which piggybacks on 2022, where we were talking about breaking the food stronghold. So they all come together hand in hand. And so for those of you who are just tuning in with me, we are starting a new training series, a little mini series called Stress and Stress Eating, Why It Happens, How to Stop It. And today we're talking specifically about how stress, immunity, and weight gain go hand in hand. Okay. And so my poll question, okay? My poll question, let me see here. I see some comments. Let's see here. Hey, Dee, and you're in Orlando, so we're around the corner. So we're having some cold weather a little bit late, right? Trying to get cool here. I don't know what's going on with the weather. All right, so poll question. So the pandemic poll. So many experience the quarantine weight gain. Okay. So where do we stand with that? Do you have a handle on it? Are we still struggling with it? Never missed a beat. Some people never missed a beat, which is a great thing. But remember back March 11, 2020, that's when the world officially shut down. We were officially in a pandemic. And here we are, 2023. And Are you finding yourself thinking about food less, thinking about food more? Have you got accustomed to this new norm? Many people are still working from home that never worked from home prior to the pandemic. So, how has that impacted you? Or hopefully you have a handle on it, but it is difficult. It is difficult. And if you're not, that's what we are here for, because a lot of stress is still stemming from the effects and the impacts of COVID. All right, so let's go into our first topic. So, stress, weight gain, and cortisol levels. Okay, so understanding that connection. So, unfortunately, excess stress can lead to an increase in weight. Okay, so we know that as on the surface, right? So, whether or not the extra weight is a result of overeating or making unhealthy food choices or your body's response to the increased level of cortisol, getting a handle on stress is a priority if you want to prevent stress related weight gain. Okay. And most don't notice it at first. Okay. But the stress can have a noticeable effect on your body. So we don't notice it. We just think more the mental stress and the emotional stress. You can, some of the signs of it, you can have tight muscles, you'll get headaches, you'll feel irritated, overwhelmed, and you just kind of feel out of control. And stress takes a toll on your physical, your mental, and your emotional health. Okay. And so in many cases, you'll feel the effects of stress right away. But there are other ways that your body responds to stress, such as a weight gain, that may take some time to notice. Okay. By the time you notice it, it's 20 pounds. Okay. That's usually what happens for people, at least. And so the body responds to stress by increasing the levels of cortisol. And cortisol is a stress hormone, and that increases in response to a threat. And so when you no longer perceive a threat, then the cortisol levels return to normal. So no big deal in that case. However, if stress is always present, then you will experience this overexposure to cortisol, which is a problem since cortisol is a significant appetite stimulant, okay, just by nature. And so, for this reason, many people respond to stress by going to comfort food. And so, a few tips on combating stress related weight gain is, so these are some seeds that I want to plant. So, you might want to grab pens and paper, take some notes, but these are some seeds that we are going to plant here because we are trying to break some habitual habits. So a lot of times you turn to food and you don't even know you're doing it, or you don't even know why you're doing it. It's just a habit. And so this is not going to get fixed in this live, but we're going to plant some seeds in order to make it happen so that you grow from there. So you need to recognize the warning signs of stress, such as the anxiety, the irritability, the muscle tension, okay? Fatigue. It's many signs. Before eating, ask yourself why you're eating, okay? Are you truly hungry? Or do you feel stressed? Or do you feel anxious? Is this a normal meal for you? Or did you just eat 30 minutes ago and now you're eating again? Okay. If you are tempted to eat when you're not hungry, find a distraction. Okay. This is something that is very intentional about, especially when it becomes habitual. And I know what that's like. I've been there, done that too, where you're just in the kitchen, you're like looking for stuff and you don't even want anything, but you're still trying to find something. So find a distraction that does not involve food. Okay. Whether that's go outside, get in your car, something if you need to get out of your house. Don't skip meals, okay? And don't skimp on meals, especially breakfast, okay? So if you're in a hurry, grab some fruit, grab some nuts to go along with your coffee. Coffee is not breakfast on the way out the door, but grab something of some substance because it will backfire later. Just because you're rushing to get somewhere, it will backfire later, the fact that you have missed that meal. Eating healthy, such as whole grains, a variety of nuts, vegetables, lean protein, low fat dairy, heart healthy fats. That's basically the 5 food groups. Aim to include most of the 5 food groups at your meals and a few of them at your snacks. Identify, and this is the last one in this section, identify your comfort foods. Keep them, sometimes you got to keep them out of your home and you just got to keep them out of your office. Now, I have mixed feelings about that because if you don't have the control, then yes, maybe initially you need to do that just to get yourself in check to reel things back in. However, but when you're around that food at some point, you're going to unravel and you're going to go crazy. So you got to learn how to handle the situation and realize that you are allowed to eat it. Usually it's because in your mind you've told yourself you shouldn't eat something, you're not allowed to have it, somebody told you it's bad for you. And so those are the things that give food more power than it needs to have. Food is for fun and food is for enjoyment. So, but if you're at that point where you're just totally out of control, I've been there, done that too, then having it at a sight, at a mind is something that you probably need to do short term. However, you got to get to a point mentally where you can function and not lose control just because a certain food is present. Okay. And that takes time. It's not an easy thing. It takes time. Okay. And that's what lifestyle is all about. Okay. Lifestyle. All right. So our next question here, let's see here. I'm gonna see if I can see my questions in the chat. Let's see here. So here's one, because I see some questions, but I'm just trying to see if I can actually see them in Facebook, and I'm not. So, okay, Dee Dee, so I picked up 20 pounds during COVID, that I cannot shake, still eating too much and too sedentary. You're not alone. You're not alone. You're not alone. So we definitely can talk more about that, but just know that you're not alone. And then I see a Sora online. I can't see your name, but I'll say hello to my Sora. So Delta's in the house. We are here. And so my question is, what is your comfort or go-to food during stressful times? And it's not always sweets, okay? Not always sweets. Mine was mixed nuts, okay? So, and I got them from Sam's. I liked them. They were big, and there were no peanuts. It was the cashews and the almonds and the Brazil nuts and the pecans and all that. So everybody's comfort food is different. What is yours? It's not always sweets. And it's good to identify. And I had to have it out of the house. I had to get to a point where I had to realize, okay, Sandra, you just need to not buy this, because anything in Sam's is large, right? So it wasn't a small pack, it's the large one. So sometimes you just have to have that honesty with yourself, but then you also got to learn how to coexist, right? You got to learn how to coexist. Let's see here. Anything with cheese. Okay. Chocolate, ice cream, French fries, and fried fish. All right, we got a range here stuff. But again, you have to see some of that. Actually, the fried fish and the French fries. See, those are things you can easily kind of keep at the house. You got to cook that stuff. But the ice cream, that's something that's very, very accessible. And so I usually say in that case, don't keep it in the house. If you really want it, you got to go to Baskin Robbins or some other kind of ice cream place and pay $5 for a scoop. If you really want it, you'll get it, but at least it gives you that form of control. And you enjoy your scoop of ice cream and love on it. and it won't break the bank, because that's the whole point. We want to get to the point where our stress does not control what we eat. We want to be able to have that control, and that's what we're trying to gain back. All right, thank you for all of that. And so continuing on our next point, how does stress impact our immune system? Okay, now this is a big one. If you think about if you've ever experienced a period where you were so stressed, you were so running, like you was getting less sleep, and you feel like you just can't get caught up, and then eventually you get sick. Over time, you just get sick. So what is the immune system? We're going to talk about why that happens. So the immune system is a collection of billions of cells that travels through our bloodstream. They move in and out of tissues and organs, and they defend our body against foreign antibodies which is called antigens, such as bacteria, viruses, cancerous cells, and the like. And so when we are stressed, the immune system's ability to fight off those antigens is reduced. And so this is why we become more susceptible to infections and getting sick. And so the stress hormone can suppress the effectiveness of our immune system, okay? And so ongoing stress makes us susceptible to illness and diseases. And so some experts even claim that stress is responsible for as much of 90% of the illnesses and diseases that we have, including cancer and heart disease. So not surprising. I mean, a lot of us are stressed, we're overwhelmed, we're doing way too much, right? But we push through that. And a way it does this is by triggering chemical reactions and flooding the bodies with cortisol that also decreases our white blood cells and our NK cells, which these are special cells that kill cancer. And on the flip side, though, stress increases tumor development and growth, and increases the rate of infections and tissue damage. Okay, so here are some tips on how to lower your cortisol level. So jot some of this stuff down, and so which can help keep your your immunity higher. Okay, so you want to lower your cortisol levels, especially for an extended period of time, and you ought to in order to increase your immunity. And so, one, tend to your spirituality. Okay, so praying, having faith, staying hopeful, staying positive. Okay, a lot of that stuff makes a huge difference in our mindset. Okay, and you'll be surprised at how that shifts a lot of things when we are always stressed and always thinking negative. Okay, even when it don't look good, we have to have faith that is going to get better. Get the right amount of sleep. I cannot stress, anybody who knows me know that I'm very big on sleep. Okay, because sleep impacts so many things. Okay, and let me see here, I'm looking at some comments here. So during COVID, started making bread from scratch and it became scarce from the store. Yeah, when it became scarce in the store, I remember when nothing was on the shelf. So that's a good thing. And then also my weight settles around my stomach. So this is from my Sora. Settles around my stomach. How do I get rid of that when I have physical limitations with exercise? Oh, I'm so glad you said that, because 80% of the equation is about what you eat. Okay, when you're trying to lose weight, it is about what you're eating. 80%, your exercise 20%. Now, is exercise important? Absolutely. Absolutely. However, you can exercise all day, but if your eating is not on point, you're just, in some cases, building muscle that's covered with fat. And so you got to have the right nutrition in order to burn the fat, and eating within your calorie needs, not below. A lot of people eat below and not above. So definitely something that we can talk about. But that is definitely the eating is where is the de facto. Okay, as far as losing it, and the stomach area is more stubborn and it is more difficult. You have to have more consistency, but lifestyle change rectifies all that. So getting the right amount of sleep, okay, that is so important. It impacts so much. Okay, it impacts our weight loss, it impacts our energy levels, it impacts our mental state. So many things, so many things. So getting the right amount of sleep will, it also influences your cortisol levels. Exercising, you want to exercise, but not too much. So this is the third one. So this kind of ties into what Masora was mentioning. So you want to exercise, but you want to have a balance. Some people over exercise, thinking that if they exercise more, if they exercise 2 hours, then they're going to lose weight faster. Okay, there's a lot that is involved with exercising. You need to exercise effectively. You need to cross train. You need to know what that means. Okay, so there's a lot involved there, but you want to exercise, but you don't want to. You get to a point where you're losing the benefits if you overdo it, because now you're risking injury. Your muscles are sore. There's all kind of things that are, especially if you're not fueling. Usually, when people are exercising, what I say, the more than they need to, they're not eating enough to even support it, and so therefore you're not going to get the benefits as well. So there's a lot involved there. Learn to recognize stressful thinking. Okay, this is another one. So stressful thoughts are important signal for cortisol release. So that's that stinking thinking. Okay, staying positive even when it doesn't look good. Okay, it's better to speak positive than to stay in the dark and to speak everything that's wrong. As humans, we always think about everything we didn't do, everything that didn't get us accomplished, and everything that's wrong, versus what's the good here? What's the positive? What is the one success that I had? Okay, so we got to stay positive. Okay, and that's where that prayer, that devotion, all that comes in. Have fun and maintain healthy relationships. So we got to break the monotony. We can't always work. We can't always be a mommy or daddy. We got to have fun. We got to learn how to enjoy life. Okay, we don't have much time on this earth, right? So we got to learn how to enjoy it. And have healthy foods, eating healthy. Okay, that's going to always circle around as far as eating healthy. Okay, that's like in the center of it all. Okay, so nutrition also influences your cortisol levels for the better or for the worse. Okay, and so my poll question. Let's see here. Oh, okay. Let's see here. I see some more comments here. My weight. Okay, and then me. Okay, Dee Dee's also co-signing about the weight around the visceral fat around the stomach too. And usually when you say visceral, that's on the organs. And this started, I just started walking, lifting weights, and riding my bike weekly. Yes. So cardio outweighs. So you want to have more cardio days than your lifting days. So Just remember that. So there's a formula to the madness. There is a formula. So let me ask you all, name 3 areas that you would like to set goals for yourself. Okay, so these are areas that will help you to start that process of managing your cortisol levels. Start the process. Start the process. Remember, we're planting seeds of getting a handle on your stress, because stress is not going away. Okay, we seem to think that we want to wait until the stars and the moon line up. It doesn't go away. As soon as you solve one problem, the next one is waiting, right? The next one is waiting to rear its ugly head, right? So name some 3 areas where you want to set goals for yourself. Spirituality. Do you need to spend more time in prayer and reading your Bible and getting that connection with God so you can hear from him and get direction from him? Okay, I'm always at that place. Sleep. Are you getting at least 7 hours of sleep? And if your response is, that's way too much sleep, I don't have time to get that much sleep, you're trying to figure out how to make that work, that means you're too busy. Okay, that means you got too much going on. Your body needs it. Exercise. Okay, think about your exercise. Okay, we want to make sure that it is effective. Okay, and that you are getting the most out of it. Okay, healthy relationships. Do you have healthy relationships? Are we eating from the 5 food groups? Are we eating balance? Is really what that means. Are we eating balance, and are we eating enough? Okay. And exercise and food groups, that's where you need help from experts, whether personal trainers or dietitians. You need help in that department to know, because there is an art to both. Okay. But you got to understand the language. You got to know the vocabulary. You got to know the facts of both of those. Sleep. I have exercises that I give my clients on how to work towards clearing their schedule in order to get sleep. Okay. Spirituality. Hey, start praying, break out your Bible, go to church. There's ways to make those things happen. And healthy relationships you'll know what a healthy relationship is. If you're stressed, then it's not healthy. If you are stressed out about somebody, it is not healthy. Let's see here. I see some. Okay, so a source said sleeping, consistent, positive thinking, staying away from negative people, and exercising more. Yes, that's real talk. That's real. And sometimes it's hard for people to say no, but sometimes you got to say not now or something like that. But there's a way to gracefully say no when it's not something that you should involve yourself in. And then we say definitely more exercise that I'm doing, gradually changing my diet and relaxing more during the day. Yes, it's very important to take breaks during the day. I'm guilty of this one too. So sometimes we just got to step away. That's what lunch is for. You don't have to take a whole hour. Even if you take 15 minutes just to step away from the computer or step away from whatever it is you've been looking at from 8 to 12. But it's important to do that. 10 tips for reducing stress. Okay, so we're going to bring this on home. And it really boils down to reducing and managing our stress. Okay. And so we can learn to manage our stress. We're happier. we live healthier lives. Okay. We really take years off our life when we are stressed all the time. Okay. And so here are 10 additional tips that you can do to help you to deal with stress. And so remember, we are planting seeds. Okay. We're planting seeds and we're trying to start the process of reversing some habitual habits. So pick some of these, 1 or 2. Don't try to take the whole enchilada. Pick 1 or 2 that resonate with you. So as I name these, what hit your heart the most that maybe you've tried to do, or maybe you've been thinking about doing, but you just hadn't started? And that's the first step. Okay. So keeping a positive mindset. Okay. We talked about that. Stay positive. Have a positive attitude. Okay. And when you have a positive attitude, then the other ones come easy. Okay. Number 2, accept that there are events that you cannot control. A lot of times we are worrying about stuff that we can't even solve, that we don't have anything to do about it. And that's where that prayer comes from. Be assertive instead of aggressive. Okay. Assert your feelings and your opinions instead of being angry and defensive and passive. Okay. Holding things in stresses a lot of people out. Okay. You stressed out, but the person who you upset with don't even know about it, and they live in their life, right? Learn to practice physical relaxation techniques. So is that yoga? Is that meditation? Is that Tai Chi? Something. Stretching is an important part of exercise. And a lot of times people do not include that. They just want to do HIIT, or they want to lift, or they want to run. They want to do a lot of high intensity stuff, but you must have active recovery. You must give your body a chance to just relax. Learn to manage your time more effectively. Now, this is easier said than done, because a lot of times people think that they got it all together and they got it all managed. But there's an art again to learning how to manage your time, and that is very, very important. It's tough, okay? And a lot of times, like I said, a lot of times people don't realize that they have these challenges because they've been doing it for so long. But it's 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 an art. Trust me, it's an art, and it does directly impact your weight loss success. It does. Stress, managing your time is very related. Set limits appropriately. Number six, set limits appropriately. So say no to requests that will create excess stress in your life. Okay. So sometimes you just have to say, I'm not able to do this, find a way to gracefully do it. But you put that burden on yourself, then you're adding stress. Make time for hobbies and interests. Okay. So, in all the midst of all the busyness, have an outlet that has absolutely nothing to do with your job. If you have kids, nothing to do with your kids, something that is just you and only you that you want to do. Okay. We got to make time for ourselves. And don't rely on alcohol and drugs and compulsive behaviors such as excess eating, excess drinking, excess something to reduce our stress. So that's basically us seeking or trying to cope with the situation by other means, because guess what? It's not even a temporary fix. It's a procrastination method. You know, I'm guilty as well, but it doesn't ultimately fix the problem. Then guess what? Now we're upset because we gain weight, we feel bad, or we feel bloated, we feel guilty. So we put all that extra stress on top of ourselves. Seek out social support. Spend time with others who love you, friends. Get out every now and then. Okay. And finally, number 10, sometimes we need professional help. So sometimes it's okay to see a psychologist. It's okay, or some other mental health specialist, dietitians. We do more than just deal with food. We have to deal with the life aspect, the social and the emotional and the behavior impacts too, because if that's not dealt with, then what you eat is not going to it's going to impact your choices in food. No matter what kind of plan you have, it's going to impact that. And so, in generally, we all working together, a personal trainer, or going to the gym where there's group classes where it's led by trainers. And so, therefore, you have those people who are experts in that field on your team to make things work. And you're not trying to take all this stuff on yourself. I see a couple of comments. Let's see here. Unfortunately, still grieving over the loss of my sister, but no excuse. Prayer does help. Yes, and that takes time. So yes, absolutely, absolutely. Definitely understand that grieving is very difficult, especially if it's the first time that you've experienced a loss maybe so close to you. Okay. And then let's see here. My hubby is very relaxing and you regularly reading books from the library. Yes. Yes. And so, okay, so I got my clone sister and a soror on here. So yes, double, double love. And yes, and we're going to have, and see, I'm glad you mentioned that point about grieving. So we have data. When I talk about stress, let me make sure I'm more specific. I'm talking about the stuff that happens every day, our work, our kids and the family and the stuff that when you know this is going on. Okay. We're not talking about the stresses that are unexpected. Okay. Those are exceptions. And in time, you deal with those differently. But the stuff that every day, you're going to work and you got a stressful job, you got stressful coworkers, you got every day, you're overextended in this organization, that organization, every day, so I'm talking about how do you manage the stuff that stuff that you really have control over. These are things you have control over, but so those are choices that we make. So that's the difference. So you have different levels of stress. So again, the unexpected is something different. And that takes, like I say, time and experience to handle those. Okay, so let's talk about this. So which action do you feel hinders you the most? So which one resonated with you the most as far as where to begin? So some people already mentioned about having a positive attitude. Here's a good one: accepting what we can't control. I think a lot of us are guilty of that one. Okay. Making time for hobbies and interests. So I started taking piano lessons a few years ago, something I always wanted to do since I left FAM. I played clarinet in the 100. And when I graduated, that was that. I just kind of let all that music go that I did from sixth grade all the way through college. But I always wanted to learn how to play the piano. And so finally, I started doing that. But again, I let work, I let all that get in the way of doing it. And so that is like my one outlet. Okay. Because everybody needs an outlet. And so figure out what that is for you. Relying on compulsive behavior. So, yes, I've been through that habitual, okay, let me just eat because I don't want to deal with XYZ. And so it's something that you always have to stay intentional about. So no matter, dietitians, we are not exempt from the same stresses in life. We just have to, we're just held to a different standard than y'all. Seek social support. Okay. It is okay. I had to get help. I worked with a dietitian to lose 25 pounds and to get my blood pressure under control. It's because I didn't have it all. This was before I became a dietitian. This is what inspired me to become a dietitian because I didn't want people to waste 3 years like I wasted or more trying to figure it out. And I was unsuccessful in figuring it out because there were just certain dots that I didn't know how to connect in order to actually lose the weight. So it's okay to get help. That's what people train themselves to do these certain things for. And it saves you from having to worry about all the stuff that's out there. And so where do you feel like you need the most support and take a step forward in freeing yourself? Because that's what it's all about. Okay. It's all about it's you don't have to stay in bondage, you don't have to stay suffering, you don't have to stay figuring this stuff out. Life is too stressful as it is. It is too much stress as it is. Oh, okay, it's my line sister. Okay, because like I said, when it's in a certain screen, I'm not able to see the name. So hey, so my line sister Audrey is on. So love, and then my clone sister's online. So yes, yes, yes. And then Dee Dee, my mental and physical outlooks respond very well to exercise. So I definitely have to amp that up. Oh yeah, exercise is definitely a great stress reliever. It all works together. The eating, the exercise, the sleep, the hydration, the time management. It's no one thing. They all work together synergistically, and that's what helps us to get to feeling good and to enjoy our clothes and all of that good stuff and to feel good about ourselves and to like what we see in the mirror. And that's what it's all about. And so the takeaway message is stress occurs when life events surpasses our abilities to cope. Okay. Stress occurs when life events surpasses our ability to cope. And it causes our body to produce greater levels of cortisol, that hormone. And in short spurts, cortisol can boost your immunity. It can limit by limiting inflammation, but over time, your body can get used to having too much cortisol in your blood, and this opens up the door for even more inflammation. Okay, so a lot of times people link inflammation directly to they ate this particular food or that particular food, or no, it's not always that. Okay, sometimes it's what you're not eating. Okay, it's the nutrients that's missing or stress. So it's a lot of things that play in the role of inflammation. And so we discuss how stress and weight gain, cortisol levels, how it weakens our immune system, makes us more susceptible to illnesses and getting sick, and take some personal time to set a new normal for yourself. Okay, set boundaries to help reduce your stress. One of the number one boundaries is the sleep. Okay, when you know you got to get 7 hours of sleep, this is the time you got to go to bed because you're waking up at this time. That starts the pattern of setting some boundaries. Okay, and there's many other ways to set some boundaries, but we got to start carving that time out. Okay, and to just kind of listen to this replay again and just think about where you can start for you, because it's different for everybody. Choose realistic goals, so something that you can see success with. You don't want to set yourself up to where it's not good, where you say it doesn't work for you. Okay, so there's no shortcuts. Okay, there's no shortcuts. So just set yourself up for success. Okay, and like I say, pick one or two. Go slow. Okay, and so one tip that you may implement immediately, so I can help you on the nutrition side to at least help get things going, because a lot of times people do stress about what they eat. And so if you have not had the opportunity to download my 5-day free meal plan, definitely do that, because a lot of times stress is exacerbated by nutritional deficiencies. And a lot of times people don't realize we focus on what we take away from what we eat, like we don't eat this food or we don't eat that food, but not realizing that we take away too much, or we may take away a food that is actually of health benefit to us. And so weight loss, weight management, healthy eating is not a one size fit all. So if you find yourself struggling in that department, you are not alone. And your weight loss strategy, your particular eating plan is very unique, okay, for you. And so determining how that is for you is a challenge. And so that's what dietitians are there for. So this is a start. It's 5 days. You don't have to do it in its full entirety, but you can do maybe pick out some meals that you like and pick out some meals that kind of jump at you. Okay. And let me see here. I'm going to put this, let's see here, actionchoices.com/jumpstart. And I'm going to put this in the chat so you guys can actually copy and paste. And hopefully you guys can see this. If not, I will repost it after I get off on a live. But that is what I have for you all today. I appreciate all the feedback. Let me see if there are any more comments before I get off. I have my prayer, praise, and meditation time every morning, and that is wonderful. Do that and remember that. Sometimes you got to do a little check-in at midday. So do that every morning, okay? Because life can sometimes make us forget about all our prayers, right? I incorporate those meals every week since I started 2 weeks ago. And thank you, Dee Dee. And how is it going for you? So I'm hoping that you're getting new flavors and getting new ideals. And that's another thing I like to present is give people new things, new ways of eating, thinking outside the box, because we'll eat the same things if that's all we know about. And so thank you for sharing that. And so I want to thank you all for tuning in live with me. I am Sandra, your RDN. We are creating a lifestyle of self-care, and we are also breaking food strongholds. And I want you to step into your highest level of health. That's what it's all about, so you can enjoy your life. And so next week, we are going to continue. Actually, we're going to have an up close and personal featuring Tracy Jackson. And she has a very powerful story. And so this is an opportunity for you to hear from real people as they share their powerful journey with weight loss, dieting, health impacts, and how they came back. And so Tracy's story is titled How She Lost 40 Pounds Without Gaining It Back, despite years of extreme dieting that led to hormonal imbalances. She had nutritional deficiencies, high sugar and cholesterol levels, and she was put on anxiety meds. So, this is something that it breaks my heart to see, but unfortunately it is real life. Okay. So tune in next week to hear her story. It's very, very powerful. And then we will resume with our series on stress and stress eating. All right. So thank you for tuning in and have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.